Hello everyone, this is Karthik from the hiddendeveloper.com YouTube channel, and in today's video I'm going to show you how to play a video file in a Samsung Smart TV application. So this video will be demonstrating the basics on how to initialize the player, how to play a video, how to load a video, how to stop a video, etc, etc. So this is all what we are going to see in this video tutorial, just the basic concepts on playing a video. So without further delay, let's get started. Fire up your Samsung Smart TV SDK. So here I'm using version 5.1 of the SDK. For those of you who are using the previous versions or the other versions of the Samsung Smart TV SDK, if you find certain differences from the one that I have been demonstrating here, we can discuss it in the comment section below. So in order to save ourselves from some time in creating a new project, launching it in the emulator, etc, etc, I have already created it. I have this is the default JavaScript project that I have created right now. So this is the one that the SDK have created for me, using my new JavaScript project wizard, and this is the output that you're seeing right now in the emulator that I have launched previously. And this is the debugging session in Chrome. Okay, the reason that I've launched it as a debugging session is that it's much more easier to refresh my app if I have some changes in the middle. Okay, so let's get started. So in the default project, you won't be having any default support for playing video files. You need to add the specific JavaScript file, or which I call plugin, that gives the Samsung Smart TV application the support to play video files. So let's go ahead and add that file. The Samsung Smart TV provides a set of APIs called web APIs. So these are the ones that have support for playing video files. So let's go ahead and add the web APIs JS file. So script type equal to text.javascript. This language tag is not essential since it is a HTML5 application, so I'm just going to ignore that language tag, language attribute. And in the src I have to give manager widget common web API 1.0 web apis.js. so this is the file that brings the ability to play video files in our application. So now the main point is that the main class that we are going to concentrate on this video tutorial, in web apis.js we have a class called avplay. So this is our class avplay. Avplay is our class that is the main class that has support for playing video files in a Samsung Smart TV app. So this class is contained in the web APIs library. In this video tutorial we are going to utilize this class and its functions for playing a video file. And before going on with this avplay class, this is the index page. So this is the starting page of our application, and in this application we need a point to insert our video player. Okay, so let's go ahead and create a new div container in which the player that we are going to create gets attached to. So this is what I call the attached point, or the point of attachment of the player. So in our case, let's create a new div element with an ID called player container. Okay, now in our front end setup, or the launch page setup, it's ready. We have included the plugin and we have added a point for attaching our video player. So let's go ahead to the main functionality file, which is the JavaScript file inside our project. Okay, so this is the file, and if you take a general look at the file, this file, you'll be having a main object with some predefined methods, like on the loading, on the unloading of the app, and there are also some methods for handling the default key down events. So these are all created by default once you create your project. So now let's add our functionality here. So in our case it will be initializing our player. So let's go ahead and add a new method to this main class. So main dot, let's name this method init player. So this is a function that we need to call at some point in order to initialize our player. Okay, so init player is a function. The reason that I am attaching it with the main object is that so JavaScript has some default set of precautions to be followed in order to scope your variables inside a particular scope in order to avoid global leakage. So this is the main reason why I'm attaching my function to the predefined main object rather than declaring it as a public method. Okay, so I have attached a method called init player inside this main object, and this init player we need to initialize the avplay, which is the main class that has the support for playing video files. So let's go ahead and do that. So where avplay equal to webapis dot avplay. As I have already said, this avplay class is something that you get from the web APIs library. Okay, so now we have got a reference to the avplay class. So the next thing that we are going to do is, this avplay class has a method called get avplay. Get avplay. Okay, so this has two parameters to be supplied. So these two are functions that are called one. So one is a success callback and the second one is obviously the error callback. So the need of these two functions is that once this get avplay is going to return you a player instance. So once you get the instance successfully, the first callback, the success callback, will be called, and if there is some problem in initializing the player, then the error callback will be called. Okay, so let's go ahead and define the success callback. The success callback will be a function let's keep it like that. Let's rename the success callback as avplay success. Okay, and just rename this error callback as avplay failure. So these are the two anonymous functions that we have to declare in order to handle the responses. Let's go instead of keeping like this, let's go ahead and add these two players to the main object itself. So main.avplay success and main.avplay failure. Okay, so let's we have named the function. So these are the two functions that are going to handle the responses. Now let's go ahead and define those functions. So main.avplay success to be a function and main.avplay failure to be another function. Okay, so this success callback is something that once it gets called, it gets a parameter by default, which will be the player instance parameter. So if the Samsung Smart TV app is successfully initialized a player, then it is going to call your avplay success function, and it passes the initialized player instance as the input parameter. So in some cases, if the player is not able to initialize properly, then the avplay method is called with an error object as the input. Okay, so let's concentrate on success first. Now you are getting a player instance. This player instance, okay, so this player instance is the one that represents the player. Okay, so what you have to do is you have to initialize the player. So what I'm going to do is player instance has a method called init. Okay, and this init method expects an object or a configuration object as an input. So this object has various parameters. The first and the most important parameter is the container ID. In this you are going to specify the ID of the DOM element in which your player is going to attach itself. If you take a look at the front end code, we have defined something here called the player container. So this is the point where we need to attach this player instance. So let's go ahead and give that ID as the container ID, and the second parameter is the displayRect parameter. So this parameter says something about the dimensions of your player. Let's say, where is the position of your player? So let's say I need to position my player 0 pixels to the left, 0 pixels to the top, and I'm giving a player my width of 600 pixel, and I am giving my player a height of so let's say 400 pixel, sorry, 400. Okay, so these are all the dimensions that I give for my player. You can give whatever dimensions you want based on the display width of your TV. Okay, here I have specified the container ID, displayRect, and the third which is not a compulsory parameter, but if you give that parameter, it will give a better viewing experience to the user. So that is called the auto ratio parameter. So what this parameter does is that it will adjust the aspect ratio of your player based on the width and height that you set automatically. So that is obviously going to give your user a pleasant viewing experience regarding how the player is presented to the user. So this auto ratio parameter is set to be true. So now we have initialized this player. Okay, and now okay, our player instance got initialized, and I'm going to create a property in my main object called player, to which I am going to initialize this player instance. So if my player has succeeded in initializing, and once it got initialized, the player object get assigned to a property in my main object, which in my case is a player. Okay, so now we have done our work on the success instance. Let's go back to the failure callback, and let's define what to do. Say suppose if in case our video initialization fails. So in this case, maybe you can revert the user to some other page that is based on the workflow of your application. Now in our case, just for demonstration purposes, I'm going to log those contents to the screen. This okay, and at the end I'm going to pass the error message as the parameter. Okay, so I'm just consoling the log, the status of the error message. Suppose if in case my function fails. Okay, so and now this gets called. Okay, avplay, init player, avplay success, and these are called. Now we need to define another method called play video. So at this point, what we have done is that we have initialized the player. Now this player has to be given some input. Let's say in our case it's a video file, to be given as an input to play it. So for that, defining that functionality, let's create another method called play video. Okay, so this is going to be another function that when gets called is going to play our video. So inside this video play, let's say I have I have to reference the player first. So just create a variable called player, and this will be the player object that I have initialized once my player call gets succeeded. Okay, so I have referenced that variable, and this player instance has a method called load, in which we have to assign the URL for the player. So in this case I am assigning a static URL. Okay, so this is my static URL. In your if you in your case, depends on your application, you can assign the URL there for the player dynamically. So in this case I am assigning a static URL. Okay, now I have loaded the URL. Now I have to play the content. So player dot play is the method that is used to play the video files. Okay, now this play method also has two callback methods as the parameter, just like in get avplay. So avplay success and avplay failure. So let's again define two callback methods here. So main dot player success and main dot player failure. So these two are success and our error callbacks here. So we have defined them. So let's go ahead and say what will happen if our player succeeds, or if there is some error in our player. So let's go ahead and define those callback methods also. Player main dot player success equal to a function. Okay, and inside this function, for this demonstration, I'm just going to log this message: the player is playing the video. Okay, and in the case of the error method, and the error callback, I'm just going to log the error message here. Let's say cannot play video. Okay, now we have defined the success and the error callbacks for the play method in the player instance. So we have handled the basic functionalities of the player. Now for we're loading the player, we have done something for initializing the player, for playing the contents. Now let's add one more method for stopping the player. So main dot, I'm just going to name the method as stop video equal to another function. Okay, inside this function, I'm just going to stop whatever content that is currently being played. So let's go ahead and reference the player variable. So main dot player is the one that we need to refer to. Okay, so we have got the reference to our player, and this player object has a method called stop that is going to stop the current video that is being played. Okay, so we have created all our methods. Now the one thing that is pending here is we need to link those methods. So what to call when. So this is the init player method is the one that is going to initialize the player for us. So the best place to call this method is when your app gets initialized, in my case, but in your case maybe you need to do this functionality when you on the click of a button, or when you go to a specific page, or when you select a particular option in your screen. So based on your functionality, you have to call this initialization method. So in my case, I'm going to do nothing rather than play this video. So in my case, I'm just going to call this method in a on the onload method. Okay, so once my application is ready, I'm just going to call the init player method. Now my player will be loaded once my app gets loaded. Okay, so I need some mechanism to play the video. So in my case, let's say on the press of the play button, we need to play our video. So here, if you take a look at the key handlers, you do not have a handler for the play button key. So let's go ahead and add a handler for the play button. Okay, so that will be tv key dot key underscore play. Okay, so this is the handler that gets called once we press the play key. Okay, so inside this method I'm just going to call main dot play video. Okay, now once I click the play button, my video will start playing. Now we have to add one more handler for the stop button, that is tv key dot key underscore stop. So sorry, tv key dot key underscore stop. So once this handler gets called, we need to stop the video, that is main dot stop video. Okay, so these are all the functionalities. Our player gets loaded once our application is ready. Once we press the play button, it starts playing the video, and if we click the stop button, it is always going to stop the video. So let's go ahead and check this functionality. I go to the debug section and I hit my refresh key, and if you take a look at the console, you can see some output saying that the player state is initialized. That says that okay, you have successfully initialized your player. You have you do not see this error message console here. If you say something, if you see something here, okay, so there is a problem. You need to check that out. But in our case, we have successfully initialized our player. We can see the status message right here. Okay, the player state is initialized. Then the next function that we are going to check is that click the play button. Okay, once I click the play button, oops, I got an error saying that undefined is not a function. Let's go and check it out. Okay, I have got the source of this error. So instead of assigning this player object inside main, I'm just going to, since it is called inside a callback, it is not able to recognize the main player object. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new global object here. Okay, and instead of this main.player, I'm going to assign it to the global object. Okay, so let's change all those references that we have used previously. Okay, now let's go ahead and run our app once again. Okay, our player state is initialized, and let's go ahead and click the play button. Okay, so I have identified the source of the error. That was sorry, instead of this load method is not there, all you have to do is player.open. Open is the method that you need to use right here. Okay, let's forget so this is the method in order to open the player. So let's go ahead and check our app once again. Okay, so if you click the play button, you can see that our player is getting loaded. Okay, so it takes some time, and I have a very good internet connection, so it's going to take some time. I think that this loading of the player is it's everything, it's like network dependent. Okay, okay, now the player gets started and the buffering process gets started. You can see it in the console view here. This is not that is related to our API, this is something related to the network speed and which we are using. Okay, the buffering process starts. Okay, now you can see that my video is getting played here. Okay, so that's it. So the next functionality that we are going to check is the stop button. So once I click the stop button, it's going to stop my player. Okay, now the my player has stopped playing what it was actually doing. Okay, so this was the functionality of a basic application that we use the object called avplay here when the webapis library, and we have played a basic video file. Okay, so this is all what we have seen in today's video tutorial, and in next video tutorial, which is supposed to be released on, let's take a look at my release schedule here. My next video is supposed to be released on Friday. It is July 8th. Okay, so July 8th is my next release, in which I am going to show you some advanced AV player related concepts like setting more properties in your configuration, the taking care of multiple audio formats. Here we have taken care of a simple hard-coded video. The next we'll be talking about supporting different formats of the video, what needs to be done when something gets wrong in a proper manner. So we'll save that information for my next video tutorial. Stay tuned for it. And in this video where we have seen the basics of how to initialize a player, how to play, how to stop, etc., the basic functions that need to be present with a player. So that's it. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned. Bye.